In the last 500 years, Filipinos have fought for freedom, unity, and equality. We have made our mark in many fields, from science and medicine to culture and the arts. We are beacons of creativity, resourcefulness, resiliency, and compassion. In 2021, the Filipino people will join the world in commemorating one of the greatest achievements of mankind, the first circumnavigation of the world. We celebrate this historic achievement by bannering an important message. Over adversity and struggles, we shall triumph, putting humanity first, always.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Kilapsaw 3.0 Women+Water. And this is the first part of our lecture for the National Women's Month. To introduce to you our resource speaker, she is one of the member of the National Gender Resource Pool of the Philippine Commission on Women. She is an advocate of gender and development, social entrepreneurship, environment, and community development. With 18 years of extensive working experience with the government, national and local, national, international, and national and NGOs, CSOs, and grassroots organizations. She is skilled in developing and implementing gender-responsive projects, policies, and enabling mechanism, monitoring and evaluation of development projects, development programs, log frame through result-based management approach. promoting entrepreneurship and capacity development program for community-based organization, and women economic empowerment, collaboration and partnership building with national and local government agencies. She is personally committed to be a remarkable contributor in the areas of gender sustainable development, women and children, environment and social entrepreneurship, and overseas Filipino workers' welfares. Let us all welcome Ms. Araceli Bayubay-Mercado.
Hello, good afternoon everyone and welcome to our webinar, Kilapsaw 3.0, Water, Women and Water. Okay, so let us now begin our discussion. So as mentioned by Ms. Kay, so I'm one of the member of the National Gender Resource Pool of PCW, and I will be giving you some information about gender mainstreaming in the environment sector. So I will share my screen. Hello. All right. So I'm going to discuss today the Women+Water. So our outline of the presentation will be about the introduction of PCW, the global situation on access to water, the Philippine situation on gender mainstreaming in the environment sector, the role of women in environmental protection and water sustainability, the challenges and message to women as agents of change and leaders in the environmental arena. So who is PCW? So PCW, the Philippine Commission on Women, formerly known as the National Commission on the Role of the Filipino Women. It has a story linked to the history of Philippine feminism, women's movements, and gender mainstreaming. So it was established on January 7, 1975 by the virtue of Presidential Decree number 633 as an advisory body to the President and the Cabinet on policies and programs for the advancement of women. So to date, the Commission is the primary policy-making and coordinating body on women and gender equality concerns. So its vision is to be the premier policy-making and oversight agency, successfully influencing development efforts towards gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. So PCW also envisioned to create enabling environment for government and other stakeholders to be more responsive in achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. And we do this through gender mainstreaming. So PCW mandates and functions so is to institute the gender responsiveness of national development plans and coordinate the preparation, assessment, and updating of the National Plan for Women, ensure its implementation, and monitor the performance of government agencies in the implementation of the plan at all levels. So we ensure na the women are always consulted and included dun sa preparation ng plan. So we all know that government agencies, yearly we submit our God plan and budget. So doon natin nakikita din na at least we put an allocation of at least 5% to ensure we do gender and development programs, plans, and activities. So we do it yearly to ensure na we are promoting gender equality and women's empowerment sa lahat ng sector at sa lahat ng mga plans that our government develop. So it also undertake continuing advocacy to promote economic, social, and political empowerment of women. and provide technical assistance in the setting up and strengthening of mechanisms on gender mainstreaming. So we are partnering with different government agencies to ensure na we promote economic, social, and political empowerment of our women and ensure that the gains achieved by Filipino women due to Philippine culture and tradition shall be preserved and enhanced in the process of modernization. So PCW has several focus areas like education, environment, international commitments, justice, security and peace, violence against women, and women economic empowerment. So for today, we will be focusing on the environment sector. So what is gender mainstreaming? So as I mentioned, it is a global strategy for ensuring that the government pursues gender equality in all aspects of the development process to achieve the vision of a gender-responsive society where women and men equally contribute to and benefit from development. So in gender mainstreaming, we ensure that the plans, programs, projects, enabling mechanisms, the policies, meron siyang gender perspective. So we address the issues of the sector through gender mainstreaming approach. So we are also submitting our report kasi Philippine also support the achievement of aside from the gender equality, the Sustainable Development Goal number 6 is also tackle about the ensuring water and sanitation for all. And for this year's theme on the World Water Day is about valuing water. So this is very timely for us to really look at how we value our water, our natural resources, and really ensuring that we have a access to safe water. So this is a global situation. So I want to give you an overview about Women+Water in a global situation. So in 2017, only 71% of the total global population use safely managed drinking water. And 45% use safely managed sanitation services, leaving 2.2 billion persons without safely managed drinking water, including 785 million without even basic drinking water and 4.2 billion without safely managed sanitation. So our issue on water is not only here in the Philippines, but it's a global issue. So we see that also 3 billion persons lack soap and water at home in 2017. So imagine that we are in the pandemic, tas wala tayong water. So, and our approach din, di ba? We always say na kailangan na maghugas ng kamay. So, paano tayo makakapaghugas, ma-ensure na malinis at hindi ma-transfer ang virus kung wala tayong access to water. So, imagine in 2016, so 47% of schools worldwide lack hand washing facilities with available soap and water. So this is the global situation. So why we are giving importance to women and water? So women and girls are worst affected by a lack of clean water. So typically responsible for unpaid domestic work, our girls and women are often expected to collect water from unsafe sources like rivers, streams, and holes in the ground. So collecting water can make them late for school, or sometimes di na rin sila pumapasok or unable to work, and putting them at a disadvantage to men and boys. So girls and women are excluded also from decision making around water and toilets because of traditional gender roles and power structures. So that's why in developing plans or programs, we really have to ensure na merong representation yung women, and their decision are also discussed and considered in the planning stage of every project or programs. So in the Philippine situation, nearly 5 million people in the Philippines rely on unsafe and unsustainable water sources. So imagine, sa 105 natin na million na population, may 5 million doon ang still yung access pa rin sa unsafe pa rin yung kanilang water sources. And 9 million lack access to improved sanitation. So especially sa mga rural and geographical isolated area. And the Philippines faces significant challenges in terms of water and sanitation access. So in the Philippines and around the world, people are navigating to COVID-19 pandemic and millions are striving to endure this crisis with an added challenge. So yung lack of access to life's most critical resource, yung water. So we experience also in Manila the shortage of water supply. So makikita natin yung effect. May effect siya sa health, may effect siya sa women, may effect siya sa environment. And it's also a women's crisis. So women are disproportionately affected by the water crisis as they are often responsible for collecting water. This takes time away from work, school, and caring for families. So the lack of water and sanitation locks women in a cycle of poverty. Why? Because yun nga, the opportunity to generate income or the lack of water and sanitation locks women in the cycle of poverty because yun, the caring for family, so hindi na sila, they have no time to participate doon sa mga income generating activities. So empowering women is critical to solving the water crisis, and access to safe water and sanitation at home turns time spent into time saved. So giving families more time to pursue education and work opportunities that will help them break the cycle of poverty. So, and to ensure safe water for all through the development and implementation of water safety planning, strengthening systems and capacity for drinking water quality surveillance and monitoring, and improvement of water, sanitation, and hygiene in healthcare facilities. So in the gender mainstreaming in the environment sector, so gender mainstreaming is an approach that we ensure the perspective of women also and men are considered in the decision-making process in the making programs, the plans, the enabling mechanisms, our policies, and ensuring people are capacitated on how to do it through gender analysis. So women and the environment, so why we need to prioritize this sector. So the threat of climate change and other climate hazards is not gender neutral. So the prevailing inequalities, including gender inequalities, are magnified by climate-related events, and often neglected is the fact that it has more devastating effects on women and girls. So for example, gender-based harassment and violence in times of disaster. And the vulnerable sector in times of disaster are also the women and the girl and the children, and also the senior citizens. So government initiatives in mainstreaming gender in the environment sector. So this sector focuses on addressing and eliminating the prevailing inequalities that exist for women and girls in the areas of biodiversity, climate change and disasters, and other environment-related areas through the adoption of international strategies. So like, for example, we have the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or the CEDAW, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, Sustainable Development Goals, and among others, and strategic actions aligned with the gender equality and women empowerment indicators of concerned sectoral bodies. So here we have the CCC, or the Climate Change Commission, adopted the Commission Resolution 2019-02, and it's about the strengthening of gender-based approaches in the formulation and implementation of climate change policies, plans, programs, and activities in the country. So this is the gender mainstreaming approach, including the generation of sex disaggregated data and conduct of gender analysis. So their major accomplishments and programs activities of the CCC on gender and climate change are reported to the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action on Women Empowerment. And also, we have the National Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation System for the Philippines 2012-2017 reported that 43% of the over 13,000 trained were women. So we ini-ensure na sa capacity building or mga trainings that they conduct, we ensure na nagpa-participate din doon ang ating mga women. So they were trained on safeguards information system, land use planning, and forest resources assessment. So hindi lang yun yung inaano natin, na hindi lang yung mga ganitong klase ng trabaho or job ay pang lalaki, kundi ini-include din natin yung gender roles na ginagawa rin ng mga kababaihan in terms of safeguarding our environment. So the Department of Environment and Natural Resources Forestry Management Bureau also reported that in Panay, 10% of the 725 trained Bantay Gubat or the forest watchers were women. So ito, ini-ensure din na may participation ang ating mga kababaihan. And the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004, Republic Act number 9275, aims to protect the country's water bodies from pollution from land-based sources like industries and commercial establishments, agriculture, and community or household activities. So here, meron din tayong sinaselebrate na World Water Day. So ito, kailangan tingnan din natin. So this year, ito yung team nila, International Virtual Conference on Water Demand Management. So this is on March 18, 2021, 8 a.m. So you can check this and let's participate to know more about what our government agencies are also doing to ensure na everyone has access to safe drinking water. And government agencies involved in regulating water use, water quality control management, we have more than 30 government agencies and offices are said to be involved in performing the different aspects or components of water resources management and development in the country. So these agencies function separately, dealing mainly with each of the sectors of water supply, the irrigation, hydropower, flood control, pollution, and watershed management. So what are the roles of women in environmental protection and water sustainability? So women as environmental stewards. So here we can see, so our indigenous women play an important role in the protection and conservation of our environment. So dahil sila ay doon nakatira sa ating mga kagubatan, no, sa mga kabundukan, mas alam nila to protect and how to really value and respect our water resource. So protection of the resource base. So indigenous peoples possess traditional knowledge and skills concerning the sensing, locating of water, and protection of the source. Water sources on indigenous lands are often considered a sacred element, and indigenous women may be the holders of water knowledge. So our challenges, present challenges, women and girls usually bear the responsibility for collecting water, which is often very time-consuming and arduous. So women have specific hygiene needs during menstruation, pregnancy, and child rearing. So the water crisis is a health crisis. because of the COVID-19 pandemic, now more than ever, access to safe water is critical to the health of families, not only in the Philippines, but also around the world. So these are the rights of women guaranteed under the Magna Carta of Women. So we ensure that under the Magna Carta of Women, our right to representation and participation in policy making or decision-making bodies in the regional, national, and international levels, including ensuring the participation of grassroots women leaders in decision and policy-making bodies in their respective sectors. So kung sa NBI sector, so we really have to ensure na represented sila and nakakapag-participate yung ating mga women and especially the grassroots women leaders in the decision and policy-making bodies. So right to access to information regarding policies on women, including programs, projects, and funding outlays that affect them. So yan siya. So women as agents of change and leader in environmental arena. So empowering women and girls. So participation of women is essential in protecting our environment, because when we empower half of the population, then we can achieve a more sustainable and gender-responsive development. When we empower women, we empower our communities, we help in alleviating poverty, we support economic growth, we uplift the lives of WANAs in poor communities, and we can deliver our commitment to gender and development. So let us make change work for women. Let us consciously and continuously engage, include, and let them participate in the decision-making processes. Let us work hand in hand in protecting our water resources and natural environment. Let us promote a pro-environment approach to development, and let us be Kilapsaw, continue to make an impact to the lives of Filipino women and girls. So I'd like to share with you a quote from Pope Francis on Laudato Si, that today, however, we have to realize that a true ecological approach always becomes a social approach. It must integrate questions of justice in debates on the environment so as to hear both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. So our hope in the face of climate emergency, humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. All is not lost. Human beings, while capable of the worst, are also capable of rising above themselves, choosing again what is good, and making a new start. So thank you everyone for listening, and happy Women's Month to all.
Thank you, Miss Ara, for the very inspiring lecture about women and the environmental sector. And yan. So yun nga, nabanggit nyo nga ma'am yung mga challenges na nag-arise when it comes to water sustainability and the role of women in protecting the environment. Sa inyo po bang mga experiences sa field, meron po ba kayong ma-share sa amin na kung saan nakaranas talaga ng struggle ang women pagdating sa sa pagkuha nila sa access sa clean water?
Yes, oo. So, gaya nga nung nabanggit mo kanina, no, aside from working doon sa environment sector, sa government, no, marami tayong mga projects din na nakita at nakasama sa pag-implement na kung saan ay yung access sa water ay isang problema ng ating mga kababaihan, lalo sa rural area. So ako, I myself is experience na kailangan mag-igib ng tubig, no? Mag-igib kasi walang dating water supply dito sa area, dito sa amin. So, napakahirap, especially na talagang yung water ay connected sa women na lagi natin siyang ginagamit araw-araw. So, lalo na ngayon, di ba, yung shortage ng water and even na-experience nyo sa Manila, kahit sa mga probinsya and dun nga sa mga far-flung areas ay marami pa rin yung, sabi nga natin dun sa data, 5 million, wala pa rin Filipinos, wala pa rin ganong access. They, lalo na sa mga island na barangays, na kung saan, ano lang sila, iintay lang sa bagsak ng ulan kasi doon lang yung doon lang sila makaka-access ng water. So isa ring experience doon sa pagpunta namin noon sa Kaluya, sa Antique, na they have to doon sa boat ride na 3 hours para makapunta sa mainland para bumili ng water. And sobrang, lalo na nung sa Typhoon Haiyan, na wala talaga silang access kasi hindi sila makapunta sa main island. So, kahit daw yung tubig dagat, iniinom nila just to survive. So, ganun ka importante na mabigyan talaga tayo ng access to safe water and stable, sustainable source ng water. So we really have to ensure na yung mga plans natin ay also linked to being a pro-environment para ma-ensure natin na yung future generation ay magmamana pa rin sa ano yung meron, ano yung ini-enjoy natin na tubig. Kasi kung patuloy pa rin natin na hindi binibigyang halaga yung water. So, kaya nga 'di ba yung theme ng SDG 6 ngayon sa World Water Day is about valuing water. We really have to value the water kasi isa siyang gift and very essential sa ating buhay. Kasi kung walang water, there is no life.
Yes, and correct kayo dyan, ma'am. So, lalo sa ating mga kababaihan, mga housewife, 'di ba? Yan yung affected ng water shortage talaga eh. Paano kung wala ang mga
Hindi makakaluto.
Oo, wala kang
diba?
panluto,
wala kang panlaba,
panlaba, panligo
walang
sa mga bata. Oo, 'di ba? Parang hindi lang naman din natin yan nararanasan sa Manila eh, at saka sa nearby provinces. Mas matindi pa yung nararanasan na water shortage sa iba't pang bahagi ng Pilipinas. Hindi lang din natin na nababalitaan, 'di ba? Pero sa ma'am, on the PCW's part po, aside from educating women, ano pa yung ibang proyekto na ginagawa ng PCW para para i-promote yung water sustainability and its awareness?
Actually, maraming partnership din ang PCW ngayon. And also, 'di ba, as part of technical assistance provision, so yun nga yung pag-e-ensure na yung gender perspective. So yearly our government agencies submit then yung annual God plan and budget. So in the submission, so tinitingnan din ano ba yung mga issues ng women doon sa sector at ano yung mandate ng agency. So nalilink andun yung sa oversight, being an oversight agency, doon nakikita kasi medyo maliit na ahensya ang PCW. So through the evaluation of God plan and budget of the agencies na sinasubmit sa PCW, nakikita, kaya rin nag-create through the Magna Carta of Women yung God focal point system sa mga ahensya ng ating gobyerno, no? National and local, to ensure din na ano yung mga issues ng sector na dapat tugunan. Issues on women sa sector na meron, halimbawa for environment. So, tinitingnan nung sa sectoral na papaano, yun nga, may ensure na merong participation and yung issues ng mga women ay natutugunan through the development of different projects, programs, and activities na yun yung through gender and development din na may implement ng mga agencies. So, ganun siya. So, ganun yung pag-work din kasi syempre limited din yung staff ng PCW but hindi siya nalilimit doon sa paano niya ginagawa yung kanyang work. At kami rin, as member of National Gender Resource Pool, is parang kami yung training arm ng PCW para din mag-provide ng technical assistance on gender mainstreaming. So we use different tools, no? And we trained government officials, government employees on how to do gender mainstreaming, on how to do gender analysis, and how to ensure na nadya-genderize yung mga plans, yung programs, yung projects ng mga government agencies natin. So, 46 years na si PCW sa existence. And they really made an impact, especially then sa women economic empowerment. So, yun.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. And shout out muna tayo sa ating mga kasama sa Facebook Live today.
Hello!
Sa ating mga kasamahan sa National Historical Commission of the Philippines, sa aming hepe, si Ma'am Gina Batuhan. Ma'am Gina,
hello, ma'am. Good
joining us this
afternoon.
afternoon, and also our colleagues. And ito ma'am, meron tayong isang tanong dito from our viewer. Maari po ba kayo makapagbahagi ng inyong karanasan kung meron man sa inyong opisina, ma'am, na nakipagtulungan and partnership sa dating Secretary Yumaong Secretary Gina Lopez ng DNR sa pangangalaga sa kalikasan, ma'am? Meron ba kayong experience partnership project with her nung siya pa ay nabubuhay pa?
Actually, wala akong kung merong existing partnership with Secretary Gina Lopez before. But always nga, gaya ng sabi ko, meron through our gender and development project sa God Plan and Budget, we monitor agencies on how they implement and on how they mainstream gender dun sa kanilang plans and programs. Pero previously, we have a project with Environmental Management Bureau nung Great Women Project 1. Meron tayong mga kapartner sa Women Economic Empowerment. Sa project siya ng PCW in partnership with different national government agencies.
And so, very clear, ma'am, na itong gender mainstreaming ay hindi lamang talaga trabaho ng PCW, but every
yes, it is
national
our commitment.
Yan, every national agency ay
and local
bahagi ng implementation kung paano natin mai-involve ang women and also other gender sa mga programa na for their development, diba ma'am? Apo.
Yes, government and private sector. So we also influence private sector on how to do gender mainstreaming. So,
ayan po. And to yan. Ayun naman po yung ating tanong from the viewers. And for the closing remarks, thank you, Mama Ara, for your time joining us this afternoon.
Okay.
Ayan. So for
thank you
the
so
final
much.
word, ayan, from our shrine curator, Mr. Jonel Birabusa.
Hello. All right. So before we end our program, we would like to thank everyone who supported our live stream a while ago here at the Facebook page of our Museum Museo El Deposito. Of course, we would like to thank the management of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines for approving our program of ours for our celebration of the National Women's Month. So we thank, of course, our chairman, Dr. Rene R. Escalante, our OIC for Executive Director, Ma'am Carminda Arevalo, and our OIC for Deputy Executive Director for Programs and Projects, Mr. Alvin Alcid. Of course, we would like to thank our chief who's watching right now with us, our chief for the Historic Sites and Education Division, Ma'am Gina Batuhan. Ma'am, thank you very much for watching and joining us today. We also like to thank our Supervising Historic Sites Development Officer, Mr. Brian Anthony Paraiso. And of course, our colleagues from the 27 museums of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines located in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So we started this program, the Kilapsaw program webinar. The very main purpose of this is to educate people about water sanitation and sustainability. So it started when the museum opened in 2019, and then it continued last 2020, and then we had a third set of webinar series this year for 2021. So for this year, we really wanted to focus the importance of women in water sanitation, sustainability, and education because in history, yung mga kababaihan talaga is involved talaga sa pagkolekta talaga ng tubig since time beginning eh. So parang gusto naming i-focus din yung kahalagahan nila sa pagprotekta sa mga natural resources natin that is very important to the water supply of the community. So I hope that you can join us again for our next webinar part. The part 2 of our webinar series, the Women+Water. The part 2 will focus naman on the water sector. So hopefully you can join us on March 19 at the same time 2 p.m. And then our last part for our webinar series will be on March 23 that will focus on women and fire prevention. Since March this month, we also make awareness on fire prevention. So I hope that you can join us in the series of webinars we have prepared this month of National Women's Month. And I hope that you have learned a lot in this first day. And that's it. So I hope you have a great day and stay safe. Miss Kai?
Ayan. Ay, nakalimutan ko yung ni Ma'am Ara. Your final word and your advice to women and girls to be part of what is this? Change. Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So let us work together, no, to empower our women and girls. Let us include them, no, in decision making processes. Let us ensure na nakaka-participate sila and ma-develop yung skills nila to really fight for their rights, no? And being a claim holders, then let us ensure that they also equally benefit from the development. So yun lang, and thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. See you again on our next webinar. Keep safe, everyone. Bye.